Price Show. We're on quite the journey here, so go ahead and once you get your notification that we are going live, share, share, share. And then once you've shared, how about this? Share some more. There's so much going on in the world today, a lot of places that, and people and agendas and laws and fights and infighting and battles within the church that you really do have to know your God. I would say if there was ever an era where we have to know our God and do great exploits, it's right now. We want to talk about the Daniel era, the Daniel prophet, the Daniel this, the Daniel that. But Daniel faced off with devils, as a living. And he was ruling and he was reigning and he was sitting in a seat of authority, not just in business, but in the spirit realm, because he was involved with an empire. Not just a city, not just a neighborhood, but an empire. Empires come with gods, they come with peoples, languages, currencies, all that kind of good stuff. Sunday, at the Congregation of the Mighty, Dr. Price taught an amazing message on discernment and the spirit of discernment and spiritual intelligence. And I tell you what, I took good notes on that subject. If you did not see Sunday service, I want you to go back. If you did see Sunday service, I want you to go back. If you were in Sunday service, I need you to go back. Hey, I was in the front row in Sunday service, and I am going back. And when she talked about, first of all, she kicked off differentiating between, really pinpointing that the word of wisdom comes before word of knowledge. She addressed the manifestations of the Spirit that we have all labeled gifts of the Spirit. And when you study gift and you study manifest, they are two entirely different things. I mean, hey, we can just say right now, if somebody says, I am manifesting, well, in the church, if somebody says they're manifesting, it's time to cast out a few things. They're like, somebody's manifesting. In the deliverance terminology, that's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Or you say something that strikes somebody's nerve or hits them in the wrong spot and they start to manifest. Well, what does that mean? In that context, we're seeing what's really in there is coming out. It's showing up. There's a man, the hand, manipulation in our minds only has one negative connotation, but truly, in just a pure sense of the word, it means to handle something, to manifest it, to bring it forth, to come out. And when somebody is gifting, regifting, that's giving. I have a gift. I am giving you something. Versus somebody manifesting something. Two completely different things. So when she was talking about the manifestations of the Spirit listed in Scripture, 1 Corinthians 12:7. And she said that the word of wisdom comes before word of knowledge. And we typically talk word of knowledge, word of knowledge, word of knowledge, word of knowledge. Where's the wisdom? I mean, come on, this explains so many things in the word. Discerning of spirits was really the center of the message. And she talked about discernment and what that really means. And we have so put the label of taboo and you don't want to do these things on words like judge. We already know it's the hot button. Who are you to judge? Well, it depends on what we're talking about. I mean, we have something called reality TV, which is nothing but judging. Judging food competition. How many food competition shows are there? There are networks now just about food. Wondering why we have a food problem, a waste problem, a weight problem, an everything problem. Food. We have taken the shows down to kids being chefs. With what? Judges. Reality TV fashion shows. Judges. Singing shows. Judges. In fact, now people break their neck and spend all kinds of money they don't have, taking out loans they will never pay back to stand in front of a panel of judges. To tell the world, we have judged, they have talent, and you should pay for it. So we do believe in judging. We just believe in it recreationally. Oh no, we believe in it professionally as well. Because those people are looking for those judges to put them on a contract, to make them official, to have an institution backing them. So they understand you can't get institutional backing without judging. I mean, Simon was like, what? He was vilified when American Idol first came out. You're too harsh. You're too mean. You're too whatever. He said, I'm honest. This is the industry we're in. They did not want true judging. They wanted that soft, affirming, emotional stroking. He said, please, you do that here and send these people out there, they're going to be crushed. If you can't handle the panel telling you the truth about you, how are you going to make it in the industry? So judging, we have got to lift our religiously conditioned rejection of the idea that having to judge something is a negative condemnation. I made a judgment call today. I'm wearing this outfit. Why did I judge that this outfit was going to be the one? It did not need an iron. Number one. What I wore yesterday, I put it on and I was like, oh no, this is totally wrinkled. Had to iron it. I'm like, I'm late. Why did I look at this last night and see the top was a wrinkled mess? Can't go out wrinkled. Today I made a judgment call. I am picking something. Actually, last night I made that judgment call. What does not need to be ironed? This shirt and these pants. I made a judgment on what shoes to wear. I was going to wear my pretty bling shoes. Lord said, it's going to rain today. Because see, those were open toe. I have on my boots. I made a different call, a judgment call to obey God. And I have on my black boots to match my black outfit. And guess what? It was a monsoon by the time I got to the office. Thank you, Jesus. And my feet stayed dry. Judgment call, okay? Change the hair. Judgment call. I bless God for it. Oh, so we make judgments all the time. That we say, what we'll call them is a decision. I've decided, because that's like a softer term for I made a judgment. And so she went in on discernment of spirits, and it means intelligence, ability to discriminate against two things. Oh, discrimination. Lord have mercy. My God. You can see how the church is in trouble right now. You can see how we as a people are in trouble right now as saints, African Americans, because all the hot buttons, this is why they're saying that God is racist, that Christianity is racist, because these things about judging and discriminating between things, see, that's what I'm talking about. Hold on. We have brought definitions down to one application. So when we hear discriminate, we think race. However, when you are choosing who comes in to enter, who has a key to your house, you are very discriminatory. We have keys in our facility and in our buildings. There's a list, there's a discriminatory list of people who are authorized to have access. Discrimination. You need to have discrimination if you're going to have wisdom. And when you make decisions, we do it every single day. There are people who say, I only buy and drive certain types of cars. Are you saying that you're discriminating against Ford and Chevy? Absolutely. I don't buy American cars. And on they go. Or I only buy American cars. I'm not buying those foreign cars. Right. So you're discriminating based on ethnicity for your car. Absolutely. So you see how we have situational belief systems, which is why, what do they say? Situational ethics? Yeah. Situational righteousness. We have just situational Christianity at this point. This is why here we are differentiating between people that are Christians. Well, now look, the list. Okay, the longer Dr. Price's teaches on this thing. So we went from, okay, we have Christians, then we have churchians and Christians. And now we have the elect. And then the very elect. Okay? To separate out, because we lump everything together. We say if you wear the label, then it must be true. Now we know this in fashion, that's not true. Is that an authentic Coach bag? Is that a faux bag? Is that real? Are the reds on the bottom of your shoe? Is that an imitation? Christian Louboutin? Or is that I see the red. Oh, look, when I'm talking about when I see the blood. I see the red on the bottom of your shoe. I see you, apostle. Oh, okay. See, so we can recognize the importance of labels when it comes to those types of things. Watches and all of the aesthetics. But when it comes to the things of the Lord, all of a sudden now, that's the worst thing ever. She said detection is a high synonym for discern. When I was in prophets training, Dr. Price trained us that the prophet's mantle is a detecting mantle. And it is unacceptable to be a dull-minded prophet, because the job is to detect, to investigate, to look beyond, to go beyond the obvious, to go beyond the norm, to see what is going on. This is why we have, part of the reason why we have these mantles. If we stop at the obvious like everybody else, then what's the point? We've had to do this with investigations and other situations. Well, I was just going off of what they told me. But see, we sit in an office where when somebody tells you something, there's that other layer of who you are, that mantle that begins to go off like a silent alarm. So you're sitting there at the table looking like nothing is wrong, and your silent mantle alarm is going off. Something is amiss in this conversation. Your discernment, as your alarm system, is going off. And it might be silent. Sometimes it's loud. You just have an outburst. I don't care what anybody. People are like, what is going on? Sometimes God just flips you like a switch. And you're like, Lord, why do you always do that to me? How come you don't do that to other people? And then sometimes it's that silent alarm. Dr. Price is the queen of silent alarms. She's sitting there, and somebody's talking. And sometimes you know sometimes you know just by experience, but other times you have no clue. And so she'll talk, and then she'll start asking questions, and then a different set of questions might come out. Okay, so when you say this, let's explore that. I want to go back and revisit. See, that's detection going off. We have to detect and get to. When in the back in the day shows, the Paula Price Show, when it was the taking the calls and just by phone, she would say, I'm interrogating the Spirit of God right now concerning your situation. I wrote that down one day. You can tell because I remember 5 years later. I said, interrogate the Spirit. I'm asking you questions. Yes, I could just mill around and poke and prod, or just reach in and pull it out of the spirit realm, but let's walk this thing out. Because a lot of times you need the other person to recognize how they got there. You might be able to see it in a moment, but they do not. And so that detection, that discernment is essential. She said discernment requires a long view. You need a long view and an intense view. The church is infighting over sentimentality. As long as we're fighting over sentimentality, we are not exercising discernment. You are either sentimental or you are discerning. You are either highly emotional or you're a thinking person. One is going to rule over the other somewhere, sometime. If your emotions rule you, then you will always come back to thinking as a last resort after you have felt your way through it. If you're a thinking person first and dominantly, you will think your way through it, and then you might go back and see how you feel about what you thought about it. Which is why usually high-strung people tend to need anchored, sober-minded people as friends. Come down. Here. And then sometimes they'll pull us up. Okay, you can get excited now. You can get a little wound up. It's okay. But typically you need that balance, because if your emotions drive you, and you'll know if you're an emotional person, people will tell you you're moody. You don't want to believe it. Oh, so we're having a bad day, we're having a sad day, we're having a quiet day. There's very little consistency in your temperament. So if you're that person who's like, oh, it's cloudy outside, I'm having a down day. Oh, it's bright outside, it's a great day. Oh, you got extra sleep. Yes, I'm so happy. Oh, I've been pressing for the last 3 weeks. So the whole world has to see your press every time they see you. And they have to hear about it in your conversation, how late you were up, how early you had to get, like all that kind of stuff. And then you got the bags under your eyes. Look, buy some cucumbers, okay? Get some green tea bags. Do something on your break. Let's go. And that's how you know if you are really somebody who rides on your emotions or not. And if you are that person, I would say you are susceptible, for sure, to being duped by emotional campaigns. What we have going on, even in the church, how we got here was an emotional push. People shouldn't feel a certain way when they come into the house of the Lord. They should feel loved. They should feel comforted. They should not feel feel judged. They should know that the Lord loves them. And when they walk into the lobby, I just want them to feel the love of God. You know what, when people come in our church, they're like, I feel the power of God. Amen. My Lord, I feel the presence. I know God. They'll tell us, I know God is here. By the strength of this man showing up. But when you're led by the feelings, it's very hard to maintain standards when you're emotional. I mean, it's probably almost impossible. Because your emotions are the rudder. Okay, this week we're going to hit it. No. There are people over the years that we know the cycles. Okay, we just got 2 good weeks out of them, which means we're going to give 1 off. And then they're going to congratulate themselves for giving you 2 good weeks. You're like, but the job requires every week to be a good week. Somebody, I was on, Apostle, aren't you proud of me? I was on time today. No, I'm not proud of you. That's the minimal requirements of this job. Minimal. That's like any job, any volunteer position. Hey, I put myself together today. Okay, great. Isn't that every day? And so she went and talked, and she said, can you discern between creator and creature prophecy? See, these are things in church when you want to say, I'm sorry, can you just stay right there for just a little while longer? She said, can you discern between creator prophecies versus doctrines of devils and seducing spirits? And we have said before, time and time again, a good seducing spirit is hard to detect because it is seducing. Seducing spirits are not billboard signs. Hey, I'm seducing you, I'm seducing you, I'm seducing you. Don't be fooled, I'm seducing you. No, this is why we need discernment. It's kind of like when you watch the shows and they have the poisons and they get the tasteless ones. They're in the drink. They don't taste like anything. Or they take on the flavor of whatever they have, or they're colorless, odorless, that sort of thing. That's when you need discernment. Somebody will say, hold on, wait a minute, let me take a look at this. Well, why? Everything is fine. Oh, no, let me do this. When you're, especially if you operate in security. When you operate in the security field, not operate in insecurity, in the security field, you are trained to see when things are off. When you hear that it's off. When it looks a little sideways. Why was that chair moved? Why was that door cracked? It was closed before. This is why we're hard on our staff about security. Because it's all those little subtleties that leave openings and cracks for the enemy and the opposition to get in. And it's so subtle, if you're not paying attention, or if you don't know what to pay attention to, you won't even see it. Why is so-and-so sitting there? I don't know. Who is that? Nobody knows who that is, and they're sitting all the way up front, right behind Dr. Price. Wait a minute, hold on. Who? Where is the people sitting behind? What is happening? And so having that, the seducing spirits are smooth. They're subtle. They're slick. And you know what? It might be obvious to someone else, especially if they've lived it, and it's not obvious to you. And then that's when you start fighting somebody. That's when listen, this is when you might be the most susceptible, when somebody who, first of all, is historically right. Let's start with that. Reputation. Historically right is telling you something is not right with what you want to do. And then when you start hitting those default settings of deflection, well, that's just your opinion. You never want me to have fun anyway. Oh, that's right, I forgot. That's your hot butt. When you start going down that road, you need to question yourself. I would say pause, because you might be playing in the hands of a seducing spirit.
Yes.
Especially, I'll use Dr. Price as an example. Why not? This is her show, right? So she's going to be right about prophesying your house, right about prophesying your job, right about prophesying your health, reproduction, children, everything else. But that one thing, whatever that one thing is that you really want, if you don't get the answer you want, that's when you start the deflection, redirection, responses. And you start telling your friends. You start telling other people. This is what I'm talking about. Every time this comes up. And then all of a sudden, all that accuracy, and it could be like a long list of accuracy, is invalidated to you because this seducing spirit is taking you over. Mm-hmm. And she said the spirit of prophecy versus divination. Can you discern the spirit of prophecy versus divination? I tell you what, you have got to study. You have to know your word. You have to separate yourself from a lot of things. Allow God to clean you out before you can really operate consistently and effectively in these levels of discernment. Your guard always has to be up. You have to go through regular consecrations. You have to go through regular spiritual detox and probably physical ones too. Because I tell you what, there are certain, when I get in these binges and when we go in these seasons of eating certain things, that messes with your chemical makeup. Even your ability to make the right decision is off. When I'm eating properly, I'm more disciplined in my whole life. I already know. Study habits, exercise habits, and just general other habits, routines, they fall in line. When I start feasting out on all those wonderful feasts and foods of the flesh that just aren't good for you, it is hard to be disciplined anywhere. And you look up and I'm like, oh, I need to, hold on. And it's subtle, and then it's a big problem. And so differentiating between that spirit of prophecy and divination. A lot of people are confused right now. And we've met and encountered them. We have advisements. We have new people in our ministry. And they're confused about conflicting prophecies in their past. And many times, it might take us 2 years to sort through and really identify what was prophecy and what was divination. A lot of people are going, well, how is that? I mean, I got this prophecy that said I was supposed to marry this person, and I got that prophecy that said I'm supposed to go overseas, and then I had this prophecy that said, okay. I mean, and is there a timeline? Is somebody saying, because hey, a lot of these things can happen in your whole lifetime. 50, 60 years, 40 years. I've heard a lot of things in my life, and thank God I have a covering named Dr. Paula Price, whose mantle is so strong, most people are afraid to prophesy to me anyway. Woman of God, I have a word for you. Oh, okay. I mean, is it hurting you? Are you okay? Should I pray? So you get, I'm just, people have looked at me in prayer lines and looked right over me. Because God won't open up their books sometimes. Or if you're really well covered, you won't get a lot of prophecies. But honestly, you won't want a lot of prophecies. Because that's too much. A prophecy is an impartation. Every word you receive is an impartation. It's planting something in you. Prophecy is a seed. We teach that here. It's a seed. Sperma, that's seed. So every prophecy is a seed. So you have people, if we would liken ourselves to being an orchard, all kinds of fruit is popping out because all kinds of seeds, strange fire seeds, good seeds, healthy seeds, sick seeds, rotten fruit, nothing coming to pass in this, no fruition on that at all. Not all prophecy is from God. And we really want to believe every prophecy line. This is why chasing after words can be a very dangerous thing. Because if you can't vet the source, and sometimes you do, I know this man, a woman in God, and I know this one, and this one, this. Sometimes I've asked people, and Dr. Price has said this too, you're on a prophecy moratorium. You get no prophecy for a year. Because there is so much confusion in your spirit. Too many prophecies fighting each other in you. And uprooting, again, that was divination. That was somebody's will for your life. That wasn't God. We have to pull it out, clean you out, and set you up straightly. So then we can move forward. She said, apostles tell you when the Spirit is taking you out or bringing you in. Whew. If you don't trust your covering, then you shouldn't be there. You don't have to vilify people. Just be on your way. You don't have to build a campaign. We know some people who just politely remove themselves over the years in our ministry, other ministries, whatever. And you have others, if that's you, if you are under a covering that you cannot trust, why are you there? Coverings are not your parents. You're kind of stuck with parents. But then when you get to a certain age, you actually have decisions to make as well. But if you can't believe that the person over you is telling you when something is taking you out, then you have removed them as your covering. Now, they might still be doing a very faithful job to you, but you are not doing a faithful job to them. This is a two-way obligation with a covering. Because coverings are not parents. Where in the household, typically, now even though that's not how it was in my house, but typically you could be a messy child And your parents, by law, still have to be good parents. You can cuss them out, tell them where to go and how to get there, but by law, there are certain things they must do in order to stay out of jail. Even though you deserve to be thrown in the street at 14 years old. You deserve to be kicked out at 16 because you think you know. You deserve to go live with grandma, cousin, somebody up the road, sleep in the backyard. You deserve it, but the law prevents that from happening. Here, in God, under a covering, that's not the way it is. You have an obligation when you are under your covering, and then now we have the spiritual family tree. Okay. This is my spiritual second cousin once removed. Actually, this is my spiritual uncle's nephew. Wait, what? What? This is my, Okay. So if you are a spiritual offspring, spiritual son, spiritual daughter of somebody that you call your spiritual mother or father, this is not like being a kid in a house with your parents, where you can do what you want to do and they are still obligated to do everything they're supposed to do. And you have no reciprocity expectation. Here in adulthood, in God, you do. So it's not just about blaming the covering all the time and not the people who are being covered. That's how we got church hurt. It's all the leader's fault. It's all always blame the parents, always blame the parents. And then you get inside of the house and you realize you were what kind of teenager? How many of us grew up, fortunately at least I did not have this moment in my adulthood, but you grow up and you find out from other relatives that they thought you were a very miserable child in your family. Oh yeah, you were difficult. You were difficult for your parents, so you were a difficult teenager. Yeah, we knew. Yeah, you were nothing they did could make you happy. And you find out your reputation in the family isn't that great after all. But in your mind, your argument was how hard your parents were, how unjust they were, how they favored another sibling. But even other people could see, yeah, but once you got an idea in your head, you just didn't want to change. So we grow up, and here we are in these adult, mature kingdom relationships. And we think that as spiritual offspring, we can still do what we want to do, and spiritual mommy and daddy are obligated to chase us down, do all the heavy lifting, bring us back into the house, clean us up, and take initiative in fixing something that they didn't break. What did I learn as an adult when I moved to Tulsa and stayed here? Family moved on without me. Well, you decided to stay in Oklahoma, so you're building your life in Oklahoma, and we're moving on here in the East Coast. You reach back into us, great. You don't, life goes on. That's adulthood. Childhood, as kids, somebody is always chasing you. Adults, people don't chase you as much. Kids, where you going? Come over here. Okay, they make sure you're okay. They make sure you're this. They make sure you're that. And then they say, well, you're grown now. And the parents who know they've done their job, bye. See you in the holiday. Don't you want me to come back this weekend? Not really. Make friends at school. Do your laundry in the laundromat, not my basement. Well, if you're in the East Coast, basement. Not really in Tulsa, we don't have basements here. No. Go on out there. You're grown now. Mom, are you saying you don't love me? I do love you. I just need your room for something else now. And they send you off, and then you find out it takes work as an adult to make something work. And in our relationship as the spiritual dynamics that we have in the kingdom, you find out if you're under a good mentor, you have to earn it. They have to earn it. You have to earn it. This is a two-way street of staying faithful. And we've heard it. My goodness, we have heard, well, they're just so-and-so there. No. We're adults now. We're adults. What are we? I'm 41 years old. Please. The rules of childhood and the allowances of childhood have long since been over. And in the spirit realm, at some point, we have to come to a place of maturity where we stop fluctuating between when we want to be the spiritual kids and when we want to be the adults in the relationship. Well, I want to be a kid when I want to have my way, and then I want to be an adult when I want you to take me seriously and promote me out in the public and in the big bad world. Yeah. Then I'm going to act like a kid again when I want to do this thing over here, but then I want you to treat me with respect when I want to be recognized for my title. I'm a prophet. I'm an apostle. I'm an intercessor. I'm an evangelist. You're not going to treat me that way. But then out over here, all these other ways, we're acting like teenagers. Lessons I learned. All right, I'm talking about me right now. Lessons I learned along the way. If it feels like I'm talking about you, then just Own it and learn from it, okay? What I'm telling you, there are no subliminal messages here. I'm talking about me and the lessons that I learned with God in this journey so if you want to be taken seriously as an adult, as a minister, someone with a title, or somebody who hopes to have a title one day, you have to stay on that side of maturity, that side of integrity, that side of responsibility. We've seen it, we've done it. Just want to break, until you feel disrespected in your office. Because we don't notice that people are always watching you as a leader. Always. If you sit on the front row, second row of anything, somebody is always watching you. I saw you at Walmart the other week. I just didn't say anything. You did? Thinking this is why you have to act right. I saw you in that restaurant with a friend of yours the other weekend. I didn't want to bother you, but I was watching. I was watching to see. Okay, see? Somebody is always watching you when you're a leader. And if you're coming into leadership, you have to be okay with that. Resenting being on the spot is going to make for a very bitter journey as a leader. Everybody has an opinion, and you know because you have an opinion. My goodness, we can sit there and run it down on social media. Oh, did you see that? Can you believe they voted? What are they wearing? It's always what are they wearing. And what are they saying? We just had a whole conversation about somebody talking about typos in your prophecy. Put a word out there. Can you please proofread it? Can you please proofread it before you post if you want to be taken serious? So now we have platforms that validate people sounding off whatever is on the top of their brain. Whether it's been thought through or not, usually isn't. So when you're a leader and you're out front, you have to know people have opinion about your hair, your makeup, your clothes, your shoes, your jewelry, all the way down to your revelation, your message, if you should even be in office or not. I would have preferred that you said that differently, and on and on and on it goes. And that comes with a job. I was mentoring one of our AITs yesterday, and I said, you know what? Your favorite phrase is going to have to become, that's the job. Oh, but there's just so much. No, it's not. That's the job. That's the job at this level. You know, it might not be the job for someone else, but that's the job at this seat. She said, your thoughts have a frequency that radiates from and in your body. That frequency piece. I know there's about to be a whole other revelation rolling out on frequency. I can feel the frequency of the frequency revelation. It's about to be like, that explains everything. You know that revelation you get when you hear something she says, you're like, that explains so many things I've questioned the last 10 years of my life, right there. The frequency of your emotions. What are you radiating through your body? That's why happy, joyful, happy people tend to be healthy people. Immune system is strong. Other things are strong. Mind is strong. Bounce back is strong. And people who are in flux with their emotions can often be in flux with their health. If you're nursing dissatisfaction, that shows up somewhere. If you're nursing anger, that shows up somewhere. If you are holding on to unforgiveness, that shows up in different places. You can study these things out. And Scripture said it first. The Word of God. You know why? Because He is the architect. He is the creator. And the creator knows how He made His creations. And creation and everything under it. He knows how He made us. He knows. No, if you hold on to that too long, it's going to take you out. A merry heart is good like medicine. And it surely is. Because when your heart is merry, even when your body is fighting you. Like, oh, good, I'm good. Apostle Paul, I think myself happy. You have to think yourself right into happiness. Yes, there are days we get up, especially back in the day, Lord, where we were like, today is going to be a good day. Because this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And not just say it because, well, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice. How are you doing? I'm rejoicing. Let's try this again. Okay? Let's try this again. You're not rejoicing. You're bemoaning. saying all the right things out of your mouth, because we are well-trained, conditioned saints. Blessed are the Lord and highly favored. Blessed are the Lord and highly favored.
Blessed are the Lord. Really drop faith.
And highly, the Lord is good. The Lord is faithful. But look, is he faithful to you? Are you having a problem?
At least that's what I'm trying to tell myself.
Every day.
I mean, the Lord is, because God is God. God is good. And let me tell you something. One of the things, and you're right, I'm in the frequency pool now.
Yep.
I'm in it.
Yep.
I'm all in the frequency pool.
I feel a revelation
Well, because
coming.
and I know that over the next couple of weeks, probably next week, especially in our global apocalyptic prayer project, we're going to go into frequency like never before. And find it in Scripture.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you were talking about that I really got, excuse me, some saints,
Hmm?
Oh,
you talking about the mic?
and no props.
Well, we're enhancing the sound quality. Look, saints, we're enhancing the sound. We're enhancing the sound quality.
Amen.
So, new toys.
I like mine.
Yeah.
I can go. See, the bell is even getting on the phone. One of the things that make you, because she was talking about a mentee, one of the things that make you a quality mentee is you have ears to hear and not a mouth to contradict or explain.
Wow.
Poor mentees always waiting to jump in with an explanation, jump in with a contradiction. No, you're not reading me right. No, that's secular. You can't pick and choose when I'm reading you correctly. You don't know. You don't know what I read before I talk to you. You don't know what I just lived, And so I think the one thing that determines a mentee, at least in my eyes, is what Jesus said, ears to hear.
Yeah.
When the voice of your mentee, as she pointed out, starts getting on your nerves, or when your responses to your mentor begin to get on your nerves, you are ready to leave. I've made up my mind, considering a recent ordeal that I've just lived through. I've made up my mind, when they get difficult, I'm done. See, y'all understand, I'm pushing 70. I've had this since 1985. People don't even give you credit for wisdom, for experience. Like the church doesn't give you credit for experience. They have so been taught by Satan to disparage and diminish and to marginalize everything Christ, that the very acclaim they give others, they don't want to give you. The very acclaim. Did anybody hear acclaim? So you can't say that you have any fame. You can't say that you've done this or that. All of that is saved for the world. And then, or either we overclaim. Somebody said, well, I've been in ministry 45 years. What did you produce? Is there 45 years worth of something that we can go to? Can we go to this and go to that? So my prayer is that the body of Christ grows up to become mature children. I have a